Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are going to do another BT token guide. So this is going to be my BT token guide for September. There are actually a lot of characters to talk about. So for those of you that are new to this series, basically what I do is this video is basically for people that are around 50 tokens, getting close to that point, or maybe you've had 50 tokens and you have got tokens that are about to expire, and you need to know who should I use my BT tokens on, which characters are the best investment. Typically in these videos, what I'm going to do, if you don't hear a character that you're interested in, or I don't talk about a character you think is good, it doesn't mean the character isn't good. In this video, I try to talk mostly about characters that are going to be available on banners, because the first thing I'm going to recommend is don't just buy a BT character for somebody, or a BT weapon for a character that you don't have. You need to have their full kit to make it worth it. So you typically, your BT tokens are best spent on characters you want to invest in and that you want to get the full kits for. So by focusing the video on units that have banners out, it's going to allow you to potentially pull for the rest of their kits. Sometimes, though, you might already have full kits for characters, but just not the BT. So I will shout out a couple older characters that are still very, very good, right? So I'm going to talk about characters that are going to be coming out in September. Some of them will be characters that are already out as you're watching this video. So some of these are going to be August characters. And I'm going to talk about just one character that is going to be like right at the start of October that could be end of September. I'm not really sure where they're going to fall, but they're a pretty hype character as well. So we'll talk about that. So the first setup here I've got is Kuja is a returning BT, Noctis is a returning BT, and then Yuri is getting a new BT. Now, Yuri's a little intriguing. Like, Yuri's like a pretty decent damage dealer, has holy damage, right? The thing with Yuri's BT, he does have an interesting effect where it puts a 100% accuracy down on the enemies. Now, you would think that's absolutely amazing, right? Like, the enemies can't hit you. But you'd actually be surprised how many enemies have big attacks that can't be dodged. So if they have attacks that are undodgeable, I'm pretty sure that 100% accuracy down won't affect that. I could be wrong. If somebody in the comments, you know, if that's wrong, somebody just shout it out in the comments. But I would venture to say if they have an undodgeable attack, it doesn't matter what their accuracy is, right? But the 100% accuracy down in most cases is going to allow your party not to get hit for a while, right? The reason why I don't think I would recommend Yuri for your BT tokens is just because there are better BT effects and better overall characters to get. It's not saying that Yuri's BT is bad or that he's bad. Like, Yuri's actually a really cool character. But it's just when I make my recommendation, I'm usually going to base it on what are the top meta-relevant choices or choices that are going to make the game easier for you, right? Kuja is just a generic kind of holy damage dealer, nothing too crazy from his burst effect. Noctis is a very good character. He's one of these, he's a DPS, takes very fast, takes a lot of turns. He's kind of similar to Tidus in a lot of ways. Very fast, takes a lot of turns. His LD has a really good gimmick where basically he can make your party members just take a bunch of free turns like in a row, which is very cool, and he's good for follow-ups, right? So Noctis also a good character, but I typically won't recommend returning BT characters. They're usually not as meta impactful as, say, the new BTs that come out, right? So that's the first set I want to talk about. This next set is going to have some of the big hitters. Ultimisia is just a returning BT. Ultimisia's BT is unique in that it allows her to delete turns, which is really, really cool. But what I found playing the game over time, turn deletion isn't as busted as you think it would be. A lot of bosses resist it. It can be good for no-turning fights, but typically the characters that delete turns aren't as powerful offensively, so the fight goes a little bit slower and drags on, whereas I'd rather just bring a more offensively tuned team. So Ultimisia, she's kind of cool, like BT effect is cool, but I wouldn't recommend her. Now the other two are crazy. Now you might wonder why I have Quistis in here. Quistis, no, it's not a BT character. I put her in as a placeholder because the character here is a character that does not exist yet, so I cannot show them in my box, right? But Luna Freya. So Luna Freya should be the first BT for September, and Luna Freya is probably in this whole video the #1 character I'm going to recommend. Now, if you do decide to buy Luna Freya's BT with tokens, make sure you're done summoning on her banner cycle first. The last thing you want is to buy a BT with tokens and then pull it later on. That's like the worst feeling in the world because you basically just wasted 45 tokens. You'd get 5 back for selling the BT, right? But you're still losing 45 tokens, so that's not good. So you just have to be very careful about how you handle that. Luna Freya, for those unfamiliar, she basically is like a super mega uber good support unit. She has water and ice damage. I believe she ice enchants as well. She does like ridiculous healing, has very, very good auras. enables your party members to take extra turns. She's just crazy. She has a good force effect, all that stuff. Her BT effect doesn't have any crazy effects on it. It just has like really good auras. Like she's one of those good like party enabling characters that when like kind of like Garnet in a way. Like if she's in your party is just gonna feel really good. So she's like a very like you've probably heard the name before, and it's because everybody's hyped for her. She's very recommended, and it's justified. So Luna Freya, like if you want my cut to the chase answer, she's probably my number one overall pick. Now we have Charlotta, who at the time I'm recording this video, I'm recording this on August 14th. It's going to go out like a lot later than that. But Charlotta, by the time you're watching this video, she should be out now. Charlotta is also a very highly recommended pick. She would actually be very high up for me as well. Charlotta is really crazy, does a lot of battery, very good support. Very similar into the way that like Luna Freya is a good support, but she's a very different character. Charlotta is a good force charging character, which is really, really impactful, especially if you don't have like Penelo or Ignis or one of these other force chargers. I think Charlotta can put in some good work there. Charlotta's BT effect, though, specifically, she has a very good BT effect that basically says while her BT effect is up, you're getting battery like every action, like really good battery. And a lot of the strategy in force time right now is a combination of either launching, off-turn damage, or both. And getting constant battery helps with all of that damage. So Charlotta is going to make sure your party always has a lot of Brave. You're going to have a lot of Brave to dump into HP damage. And you're going to have a lot of Brave to protect you from getting broken. So Charlotta, and because like characters like Charlotta and Luna Freya being very good generic support characters, they can slot into any team and they're going to make any team a lot better. I would say one slight edge Charlotta has over Luna Freya is that Charlotta isn't tied to an element, which 99% of the time is fine, but there are a lot of elemental lockouts that can happen. And so if one of Luna Freya's elements get locked out, it can make her not as impactful. You might be able to Brave Gain over it. I mean, her auras and stuff are so good, you can maybe Brave Gain through it, but it's going to be a little bit tougher. Whereas Charlotta is at least non-elemental. But Luna Freya overall is like a better character, but they're both very, very good. So I would say those are two like excellent picks for your BT tokens for the month of September, if you need to do that. Now we're going to talk about, right now, at the time I'm recording this, we have a banner for Terra, Ramza, and Ace. This was actually supposed to be in September. It came to Global early. Ace, I would say, is just like an okay damage dealer. He has traps, which is really, really cool. But once again, he's a character I probably wouldn't recommend here. Terra and Ramza, though, are characters I could recommend. Ramza is just a very good support character. The one, I think, downfall for Ramza... Hold on, let me double check. Oh, no, Ramza does... I was going to say, I was thinking Ramza didn't have his force enhancements, but he did get them. So yeah, Ramza's good. He doesn't have a force weapon, but that's not a huge deal as long as you have a force character. But Ramza's just one of those characters where he's a very good aura bot. Like, provides very good auras. Has, I think, either the best or second best HP damage up aura in the game, which is ridiculously good. So Ramza, just a very good... But here's the thing. If you have the option to pick Ramza or, like, Luna Freya, like, you might as well just grab Luna Freya. But if you know you're going to, like, pull for Luna Freya, then, and maybe you have, like, a lot of Ramza stuff, but not the BT, like, Ramza BT is a very good pickup. I do really like Ramza. Terra is very good as well. She's basically like, I refer to her as like a magic version of Tidus. She has a very easy to use force time. She's great for beginner players. She's great for players that don't have a lot of the team comps, or they don't like to do the shenanigans to get like the cam combo off and stuff like that. It's literally, you can just pop her force time, have her self-sustain and put in all the damage and all of the HP damage up in her own force time. She's self-sufficient that way. It also makes her flexible for more team building because you're not forced to say, oh, I have to have Selfie on the team and I've got to have maybe a Machina to do all the damage, whatever. Like, it can literally be Terra and then slot in 2 supports, or Terra and a support and a tank, or Terra and a support and a utility, and you're good to go. So I would say she's a very easy to use and very effective character for DPS if that's what you're lacking. So I would say Terra or Ramza would be units I would recommend, right? So a couple more from September is we've got Eldnarsh and Vayne. They're not bad characters, but I wouldn't recommend them. Vayne's gimmick is that he does break a lot and get a lot of free turns. He does a lot of unbreak, rebreak, so he's just like a breaking machine. Like he's constantly going to be breaking. Eldnarsh has some really good gimmicks. He has this really cool fear gimmick where like the enemies just can't attack him, and he can really make your party feel safe, especially in damaging fights. And if you're a fan of Vayne or Eldnarsh, like definitely grab them. Like they're good enough to get. They're just, once again, my recommendations are going to be more for like beginner players or like meta relevant, like the best characters in the game. And I would say Vayne and Eldnarsh probably don't fit into that mold as like best characters in the game for this time period, but they are good characters. The one thing I should have said at the beginning, I usually say this at the beginning of all my BT guides, is if a character is your favorite, like just get them. Like, because if you like them and you want to use them, that's fine. But if you're a person that's concerned with getting the most use out of your resources and you want meta relevant characters, you want the game to be as easy as possible, then you want to more follow my recommendations, right? Now Tifa I threw in here. Now Tifa technically is an October character. I'll probably talk about her in that BT token guide as well. But Tifa is like a ridiculously awesome offensive unit. I'm going to go all in for her BT. So if you're a fan of Tifa, like, she's really good. Like, she's really, really, really good. And she does a little bit of launching. She'll battery herself like crazy and just dump out like huge offensive numbers. Ever since she got her LD, she's been one of the better offensive characters like in the game. When her LD first dropped, it was the single hardest hitting LD in the game. I think Prish definitely surpassed that. But when Tifa comes back, she's going to be putting up crazy good numbers. So Tifa, if you can hold out till the very end of September, like first week of October, Tifa could be an option for you. So I just wanted to throw her in here. And I would recommend her. So next we're going to talk about a couple of older characters that they most likely, when you're watching this, they won't have banners up. So this would be for players that you maybe got most of the kit or all of the kit but the BT. And then maybe you want to get these characters, right? So Tidus, Cam, and Garnet are all still ridiculously good choices. If you have the kits to support them, just keep in mind, you're not going to be able to pull for their stuff. If you have power tokens, you can get their 15 and 35 weapons. You would need EX tokens to get the EX. And then if you have access to the very rare LD token, which can only be purchased from limited time packs, technically you could go in on a character that you have nothing for. But you'd have to be willing to have EX tokens, LD tokens, and have the power stones to be able to buy the rest of their kit. So if you're someone that came in late but you've got resources, Cam is still ridiculous. He's been hyped for a reason. It's basically he can get the highest force time multiplier in the game while effectively doing damage. I think Ursula technically can get higher, but you're not doing damage for a lot of those turns. So Cam's is the highest damaging force time in the game. It does take setup. You have to have launching with it, and you have to have like certain calls. You may need to ice enchant and some things like that. So his is a little bit trickier to pull off. If you're interested in like before you maybe pull or before you grab Cam's BT, just watch my character guide on Cam. I explain the whole combo and what you need to do it. So then you can justify if you think you have the pieces to do it and want to do that, you can. Tidus is just like Terra. That's why I call Terra the magic version of Tidus. He's very similar in that he's a very speedy character, can take a lot of returns. His FR, he just guides through his own FR. Doesn't really need anybody else to support him. He's a very easy FR to use. So yeah, he's very, very good. He's just more of a ranged physical damage character. He has melee and ranged in his kit. So that's kind of how he works. And then Garnet has just been literally since last February been like the best aura support character in the game. It's getting to the point where it's like, yeah, Garnet might not be the best. Like Luna Freya, Ramza's still competitive with her, right? So like Garnet isn't a must-have anymore like she used to be. And also with Garnet, she doesn't have force enhancement. So that's another thing, a reason why you maybe wouldn't want to get her. So Garnet's definitely dropping on my list, but she's still not a bad pickup by any means. You're still seeing all kinds of clears with Garnet. She still makes your team look busted. She has follow-ups, all that good stuff. So anyways, guys, let me just make sure here. Yep, that was the last one. So anyways, guys, I'll just kind of quickly go through these again, and I'll just tell you which ones I would recommend as good picks. So Tidus, Cam, or Garnet are good picks, provided you have tokens to get their stuff or you already have their other weapons. But don't just get the BT and have nothing else. They're not going to be usable. Okay? Tifa would be a recommended one. Terra and Ramza would be recommended. They're good. I would say Charlotta and Luna Freya are probably my two top picks this month. They're very, very good. So those would be probably my two top picks. And then honestly, I really wouldn't recommend any of that bunch. So there you go, guys. Hope this helps. If there's a character I didn't talk about that you kind of want an opinion on, hit me up in the comments or join my Discord. I have a Discord posted in the description for Dokkan Battle and DFFOO. A lot of cool people in there you can chat with. I'll be in there as well. So anyways, guys, hope this helps. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.